Hello everyone, Colin Canet here for Woodwork Web. Today we're going to make this little cash tray. So for anybody who's exchanging money at swap meets, garage sales, or if you're a volunteer, a handy little item to have. Stick around and watch how we make it. Well, let's get started and let me show you where we're working from for the base. Now, first of all, my money is 2 3/4 inches wide and 6 inches long. And that's important to keep that in mind because that's going to dictate what the size of this little box is going to be. Now, the other thing that I've done, I've created this block and we're going to be using this block. We're going to cut this out on the bandsaw. We're going to cut some circles and those will be the pulls where the coins will come up, and you'll see that in a second. But what's important is the width of this block is just about 3 inches, and you can see that it's this roughly the same width as the money, so that it all works, so that when you put it all together, it's all spaced properly. Yeah, those are perfect. Now I'll just clean those up a little bit, make them a little bit smoother. Well, now it's time to start cutting out some of the pieces. And as usual, I'm building this thing on the fly, so there are no plans. I've never found plans for anything like this. But what I know is I've got some yellow cedar that I've had forever, and I'm just going to use it now because it's just sitting around my shop, so time to start using it up. And it's almost 3 inches, so I'm going to cut it. I'm going to make this 2 3/4 inches high. That's how high it's going to be. So we'll take these over to the table saw and trim them. Then I need some spacers between these, I don't know what these are called, these coin lift things. And I have some door skin material, very thin. It's about 1/16 of an inch thick. The first cuts I'm going to make are to make the sides of the box to height, and I've already set the distance of the fence and the height of the blade, all ready to go. And now the second cut is going to be the door skin material, and it wants to be slightly less because there will be a bottom going on. So it's about 2 5/8. Okay, well, here's your first glimpse at what we're working at. And the reason I wanted to do this and set this up is I need to measure this. And this happens to be exactly 13 5/8. That's a nice number. Whenever I go to the sliding miter, I like to start off with a nice clean square cut. So I always leave a little bit of extra room to do that. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. And now I'll do the final cut. Now the next thing I need to do is to mark where those dados are, and I've got these, you can see I've got a clamp in here to keep this nice and tight, and very carefully with a very sharp pencil I just need to mark each one where I'm going to run dados down. And I also, while I'm here, I'm just going to mark that there and there because I'm going to be cutting rabbets in the end here to give me a little bit tighter fit in there. The next thing I want to do is cut the rabbets for the end pieces. So the first thing I need to do is set the height of the blade, and I'm just going to use one of my measuring bars. This is my 1/4 inch, and that'll give me a perfect height. Okay, now for the width, I'm going to use the same piece of scrap, and I just need to make sure that the scrap piece of wood is on the outside of that blade, just like that. Okay, and there we go. We've got that all together. Take that clamp off of there. Okay. Now what I need to do now is to determine what I'm going to put for spacers in here. Now I'm going to be using some epoxy glue here today for two reasons. First of all, because it's a quick drying, it's a 5-minute epoxy, but also because I'm gluing end grain, and end grain doesn't glue very well. So I'm going to use epoxy, and it's one of the best glues for gluing end grain, and it'll give us a good hard glue. But what I need to do now is I need to cut the rabbet, which is going to be the base of this thing. And while this is stuck down nicely, that's actually good because I can now cut that rabbet. And off camera, while this was drying, I just set up the router and put the router bit in it, the rabbeting bit in it, and we'll just plug it in now, and we'll go ahead and cut that rabbet. Okay, I've done a couple of fittings here. Let's see if this one will... There it is. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Okay. Oh, good. All right, there's the last one in there. Nice snug fit. Those are just, that's just a friction fit in there. Those are all moving around, or can all move around right now. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of epoxy. We don't need very much in here. These aren't really going to go anywhere. I'm just going to put a little bit in there, each one of these here, just to kind of seal those. Strong, so I don't need a ton of glue on all of these. Just a little bit. Okay, now let that all sit. And in about 5 minutes, that's all going to be rock solid. Well, there's our little cash box. I even took a moment while the glue was setting there to mix up another batch of epoxy, and I put it down there, and there's a pretty nice transition now, so a coin should slide quite nicely. The last thing I need to do is do a little bit more sanding on this, and I'm going to paint it, and when we come back, we'll be all done. And there's the look at our finished little cash drawer. Well, and that concludes my video on making the little cash box. Just something that for those of you who, like me, are doing a little bit of volunteer work and you need to exchange some change from time to time, easy to get the bills in and out. And, you know, I painted it black, and I purposely did not put a lid on it because I don't want people to get complacent with something, I guess, saying, oh, it's secure. These things are never secure, and you never want to leave large amounts of money. Too easy to steal money from these things. So you want to use them just for handy, little small amounts, quick and easy, handy money to exchange that way. So anyway, something for you to think about building someday if you ever need that sort of thing. I'm Colin Kennett for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.